Hello everybody. This is actually my second video. I had a couple of questions on taking apart some trim pieces to do this. Um, it's like a faux carbon fiber vinyl wrap. They make it in all kinds of different things. They even make it in pale woods and shiny wood and gloss black and all kinds of different stuff. Matte black, you can get all kinds of different ones. And I just chose the it's a 3M die knockoff. I think it's made by R1 Concepts or something like that. R1 Racing, some knockoff brand. They make a few different textures and looks. This is the matte black that I went with. They have one here that's kind of more of a gloss. They call it 4D. But all it is that the weave looks a little bit more circular than straight, like it is on this here. But 4D, I don't know about that, and it's really not all that glossy. It looks really good on curves. If you're doing a piece that has a lot of curves, works out really nice. I didn't really like it. I kind of like this matte look a little bit better. But anyhow, people were questioning, some tips on how to get the trim pieces off. It's really not that bad in this car, and a lot of things you can do on the car itself. So far as you guys are gonna have to excuse how dirty my car is, but the door panels themselves, so those pieces right there, I did those on the car. I didn't take those off. I also did these pieces here where you've got the memory in the seat switches. I did that on the car too. I also did this piece right here on the car. I didn't do the silver portion on the car, I took that off, but this piece here, obviously taking this whole shift mechanism out is something that I didn't want to do. And how I did that, basically, was I put the car kind of down in gear. You have to turn it off for it, or turn the car on for this, but you did have to put the ignition on. And then I removed the shift knob, which if any of you have done it before, you can do it by turning the base down here at the bottom. It's a little trim base piece, and then pulling straight up on the shifter itself. And this is the trim piece that I was talking about. And then what I did was, leaving this down here in gear like this, I cut a hole in this piece of vinyl. So I cut it a little bit larger than this bezel here, and I cut a hole, about 1.5 inches up the diameter of this stock. Then I slipped it over, and then I heated it with a blow dryer, and then I cut this out. And then before I cut this piece out here around the actual shift gate itself, I heated it up with the blow dryer, and then I used a window tint squeegee to kind of push down the detail so I could see. It's going to be really hard to see right now because it's dark, but to see the indentation, because there's a little black trim piece. That's basically what kind of guides us up when you push it up and down. But there's an indentation around that, and that's where I cut. But I used the heat gun to kind of let this vinyl sink into there. Then once I did that, it was pretty much easy to cut this portion out. I was just careful of this switch here. If you use a really, really, really sharp knife, it's for the better. Really sharp razor type of knife. And then once I was done, I just kind of slip this guy back on like normal. I won't bore you with those details. So far as this piece here, this large piece with your ESP button and your window shade and airbag light and window switches, trunk release, all that good stuff. That was something that basically I removed by getting up here at the top. So I opened up the door for the ashtray, and then, you know, you'll kind of feel, sorry about this horrible light, you'll feel a lip here at the very top. I can get a better picture of this. You can kind of stick your finger up here. If you get your whole hand on it, you can pull up on it just a little bit. And once you pull up a little bit on it, you can push it back down. Then you'll have a lip on this bezel piece, which on most cars will be black. And then you can lift up on that. Once you lift up on that, then this whole entire piece will come out. You'll have harnesses connecting. This here, if you have a window shade, if you have that package, ESP button, the window switches, which will only be one harness for this whole package here, for this whole set of switches. It should be on this side. Actually, it's my mistake. There's two connectors, but one harness, and it's on this side. And then here, one for the airbag, and then, like I said, if you have the window or the shade for the window in the back, one for that as well. Then this whole piece will just lift out, and you'll have these little black tabs here, and here, and here on the other side. You'll get with a knife or a really small flathead screwdriver. Push those tabs inward on each side, get all of those pushed in, and these will drop out. Basically, it's one big unit for all four of these switches, and it comes out. Same thing for the ESP button. There is a tab on the back side here and here. Push those tabs in, that will come out. Same for this button, same for that. This is actually a lot larger than it looks on the other side. It's about that big. So once you have all those out, then you can start wrapping the piece. A lot of people I've seen do wraps, and they will try and tuck the material inside of the switch hole. Well, these are pretty tight on the sides. You could probably get away with it front and back. On the sides though, these are very tight. I've tried it, and just having that extra bit of material inhibits the switch from working smoothly. You'll feel it, and then it starts to work its way up on the sides there, just from the friction of rubbing. So what I did, again, take a really sharp knife, razor blade sharp, and cut these out. Again, heating the material makes that a lot easier. So once you put this over the top, work your air bubbles out, heat the holes or the material covering the holes again, then that'll show you where they are. And then you can just run the knife along the edge there, and it will get it very close. And in fact, you know, it pretty much cuts it out. Almost, it looks laser etch quality of cut. So if you look at these buttons up here, you know, it looks like they were made for that. You know, it doesn't have any kind of chafing or rough edges or anything like that. This material cuts very well, especially if you use a new razor blade, which I recommend each time. But around each of these switches, around the climate control unit, everything's very very tight. There's no ununiform edges or anything like that. And you know, I'll just put, generally what I'll do is I'll just put the blade, you know, at the edge here, like you would run your fingernail across, you know, and just run it straight across. And I do that for the switches too. You know, I'll get it inside there like almost like your fingernail, and then just run it around, all around there, and pretty much makes the cuts perfect. This piece removes a little bit differently than the rest of these. Oh, by the way, once you have this piece up, there will be a screw right about here and right about here. for this ashtray assembly, which will then actually pull out towards you. I would recommend, keeping the car in probably the drive setting for that, and then this whole unit will come out. Be a little bit leery of the connections for the cigarette lighter. They're pretty short, so you kind of got to get in there and work your hand behind there and release them before you go tugging on it. But anyhow, then you'll take those two screws out, set them aside. This assembly comes out, and then what you'll end up doing is removing this door veneer from the plastic itself, because this is actually two separate pieces. There's the wood veneer on the top, and then